All right, we are back finally. Tussle Talk Podcast. We are going to talk about UFC 262. Took place in Houston, Texas. Amazing event. The vacant lightweight title was up for grabs, and we have a new UFC lightweight champion. Super excited, so let's talk about it. All right, so we're finally back with another episode of the Tussle Talk Podcast. If anybody is a returning listener, you'll know that, and it's been about a week since I have updated with a new episode of this podcast. I've had a lot going on. I had a vacation, took a short vacation up in northern Wisconsin, the Northwoods, they call it. Beautiful. You know, if you have not been to the Northwoods of Wisconsin, the northern part of Wisconsin, do yourself a favor and get up there ASAP. It is absolutely beautiful. The weather is incredible. The scenery is incredible. Absolutely amazing. So relaxing, and it's just amazing. So if you haven't been up there, do yourself a favor, get up there. Minocqua is one of the popular tourist attractions up there. Another place, and this is where our place is located, is in the Eagle River metropolitan area. It's just absolutely incredible. There's not like massive tourist attractions or anything super extravagant, but there's just absolutely incredible displays of nature. I mean, you're just totally separated from the hustle and bustle of modern day society. You're totally cut off, and it's extremely just refreshing, renewing. It's cheap. You don't have to pay for a across the world or international flight or anything. You just head up to the Northwoods. You can drive up there. You can take a plane for pretty cheap nowadays with COVID and everything, and it's absolutely incredible. So refreshing. It's just food for the soul. It's amazing. So, anyways, we'll continue on. I just implore anyone who has not been up there or indulged in the pleasures of just getting out of the city, and just indulging in the beautiful nature, scenery that the northern United States has to offer. So anyways, we'll get back to it. I'm sorry that I have not been making a ton of episodes super frequently. I've had a lot of different things going on in my life. So this has kind of been put on the back burner. I'm super passionate about it, so I'm not going to leave you guys hanging. I absolutely love doing this. I love the sport, so let's just get right into it, because you guys don't give a shit about any of my little vacations and all that shit. So let's just get right into it. Winsky back. Welcome back to the Tussle Talk Podcast. Let's get right into it. We got a whole ton of stuff to talk about. It's just been a crazy few weeks in the sport of MMA. I mean, just even outside of the UFC. I spend most of my time talking about the UFC just because, it's the most prevalent, production out there. I mean, every weekend they have an entire event. They advertise well. And I live in the United States, so that's what I talk about mostly. But I'm a huge fan of One Championship. I'm a huge fan of Bellator, and so I think that's a good segue into the events of this weekend. Bellator. We have a Bellator lightweight champion, I'm sure a Bellator Hall of Famer in Michael Chandler, fighting for the UFC lightweight belt against a longtime veteran in Charles Oliveira. Unfortunately, he got himself knocked out, TKO. Unbelievable countering from Charles Oliveira. I mean, that check left hook was spectacular. I'm mostly speaking to just the diehards, the technicians, people who have personally practiced martial arts and striking and jiu-jitsu and the individual martial arts themselves, because I think those people mostly will be able to appreciate and understand the beauty of that check left hook that started the beginning of the end for Michael Chandler. That check left hook from Chuck Oliveira was absolute art. That was absolutely beautiful. I mean, his technique, his stance, the setup, the execution of that check left hook was absolutely pristine. For hardcore people that appreciate the technical aspect of striking, of MMA, all the nuances that come with it. I mean, the counter and that check left hook that put Michael Chandler down initially in the second round there was absolutely beautiful. His positioning, his technique, his mechanics were absolutely perfect. I mean, I could watch that check left hook that started the beginning of the end for Michael Chandler. I could study that slow motion for hours. I mean, it was so elegant, so beautiful, and that's happening in real time. Just incredible. Congratulations to Charles Oliveira, because, man, holy smokes, it's his 28th fight in the UFC. It took 27, I believe, fights in the UFC before he got his first title shot, and holy smokes, did he come to fight, man. And he delivered in such a spectacular way. Good for him. I mean, he's an incredible person also. I mean, nobody deserves it like he does. I mean, it took him 27, 28 fights before he got his first title shot, and he delivered spectacularly. And even if he didn't win, from what I've heard about Charles Oliveira, is he is the most selfless, giving, supportive, person and fighter going in the UFC. I mean, I've not heard such an inspiring, motivating life story other than Chuck Oliveira's. I mean, that's absolutely incredible. So he's a superstar in the sport. He's the UFC lightweight champion. But even before that, maybe even dozens of fights before that, he started out and said, I am going to support my community. I'm going to uplift them, even when, I'm succeeding, even when I am shining as bright as I can, I'm going to still stick with my people, and I'm still going to support my people. And he's stuck to that. Charles Oliveira still lives in Brazil, He still lives in the favelas, which to the uninitiated English-speaking viewers, favelas are basically the hoods of Brazil. So Charles Oliveira has stuck by his people. He still lives in the favelas of Brazil, and he still supports the down and out in his community. He still lives there. I've heard that he's never going to leave. He's committed to his people, and he's a selfless human being, and he wants to support his community and his people. So he apparently still lives in the favelas. He's raising his family there. He's got a wife. He's got at least one child. I saw a UFC embedded with him, where he's swimming in his pool, and I know he at least has one child. And I've heard from a lot of different people. I was watching a Chael Sonnen video, and he said that he is in regular contact with someone who is in the know, someone who is close to Charles Oliveira, and basically knows the ins and outs of his training and of his life. And he says that Charles Oliveira he's always going to stay. He's always going to live in Brazil. He's going to stay in the favelas, and he's going to support, the people he grew up with. He's going to support his people, his family, his friends, and his neighbors. And I got tremendous respect for that because, it's kind of a well-known fact that kind of the highest, or one of the highest plateaus or levels of accomplishment in Brazilian culture as it relates to fighters is, getting out of Brazil, getting out of the favelas, and eventually moving to the United States and making a life in the United States. Like, that's an accomplishment. That's a goal from what I understand. That's a goal of most Brazilian young men and women. They want to get out of there because life is tough in Brazil. But Charles Oliveira is the type of guy that it doesn't matter how successful he gets, and he is definitely been successful for his last few fights, and now he's the UFC lightweight champion of the world, and he's still staying in Brazil. I heard he buys Christmas presents and expensive, useful things for people in his community. He pays for it outright, with his UFC earnings, and he just sounds like an incredibly giving and selfless person. So I don't know if there's anybody else that deserves it more than he does. So congratulations to Chuck Oliveira. I'm a huge, 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 huge fan. I mean, he's hands down the best submission artist in the sport, in my opinion. A lot of people already say that, yeah, he's definitely the most accomplished and the best submission artist in the UFC. But in my opinion, he's the best in the world. He's the best in the world. I'm so happy for him. Hats off to Michael Chandler, too, because he was extremely gracious in defeat. He handled it so well. And there's nothing to take away from Michael Chandler. There is absolutely nothing to take away from Michael Chandler. He didn't lose one penny. His stock in the sport did not lose one penny. His stock is up, in my opinion. I mean, this is his second fight in the UFC. His second fight in the UFC, and he's fighting for the UFC lightweight championship of the world, which in all actuality is the pinnacle of achievement in the UFC and in mixed martial arts. The UFC is the pinnacle of mixed martial arts as an organization, and Charles Oliveira is the champ in the highest level weight class in the whole UFC. So it's absolutely incredible what he's done. It's absolutely incredible what Michael Chandler has done. He was fighting for the most prestigious belt in the entire sport in his second fight with an organization. Incredibly impressive. He almost finished Chuck Oliveira in the first round. I mean, if that fight would have been called off, I don't think a lot of people would have complained. But, man, he toughed it out, and he powered through it, and beautiful, beautiful check left hook from Oliveira to knock down Michael Chandler, and then he finished it off spectacularly. I couldn't be happier for him. Maybe we'll see. I guess we'll see if Khabib can find some kind of reason to get motivated to come back and reassert himself as the GOAT in that division. I would love to see Khabib come back, but we'll see. Charles Oliveira is the new champ. I'm so happy for him. He's not a better person is worthy of it. He deserves it more so than anybody. He's worked his ass off, and he's such a great person. And Michael Chandler did not lose any face in this loss. He did not lose any face, and he's got just so many opportunities ahead of him. I mean, you lost a title fight in your second fight in the organization. He didn't lose any face. What I really like for him is I like Justin Gaethje for Michael Chandler. I like Justin Gaethje for Michael Chandler even before this fight. I like it even more right now. Another thought I've been having is the winner of Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor 3, the trilogy fight. The winner of that fight takes on Michael Chandler. And the winner of that gets to fight for the belt. So I like that fight. I like the ring of that. We'll see how it goes. Another one. I think this is long overdue. We need to give a massive amount of credit to Beneil Dariush. I mean, the guy's on a 7-fight winning streak against some really tough guys, some really, really good competition. And then he dominates Tony Ferguson. And Tony Ferguson needs no introduction. A win over Tony Ferguson is amongst the most prestigious in the sport. So I am really excited to see what's next for him. You know what I like with Beneil Dariush? There's a few fights I like with that. To tell you the truth, I know that Edson Barbosa is fighting at 45, but you know what I really like? I like Beneil Dariush versus Barbosa at 55. I like that fight a lot. And there's quite a few other fights that I like for him. I think we got to start giving Beneil Dariush the respect he deserves. He's a serious problem in this division, Let's give him a top 7, top 5. The guy has proved himself time and time again. I'm really excited to see what's next for him. But, now that I think about it, a good fight for both guys would be Beneil Dariush versus Edson Barbosa. I think that's a great fight. I think that's a great fight. UFC, if you're listening, take that one into consideration. Anyways, I just want to say thank you to everybody who listened, and thank you for checking out the podcast. I will have another episode probably Friday afternoon, Friday evening, previewing our next fight card. So, again, thanks for checking out the show. Be safe, and have a great rest of your week.